Hey everyone, welcome back to another ClearVoice Employee Spotlight. My name is Joanna Bowser. I'm the Director of Marketing here at ClearVoice, and I'm here today with Harlan, one of our content project managers. Harlan, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And for those of you that check out other videos on our channel, Harlan also leads our Behind the Byline series. So this is his first time on the other side of the camera, so to speak. So Harlan, I hope you're not too nervous.
Oh, not at all. I'm super excited. Yeah, ready to
All
get into
right.
it.
All right, cool. Well, I have a couple questions for you. They're very easy. And I just kind of want to start with what do you do here at ClearVoice?
So I'm a content project manager at ClearVoice. As a content project manager, I'm a part of our greater service delivery team. So just as the name implies, we're responsible for the delivery of our content services to our clients. I'm part of leading and facilitating our customers' content plan and their projects. So there's kind of two ends to that. The front end or the customer side is like relationship management, engaging with content strategy discussions and development, familiarizing myself with their brand, interpreting any of their feedback. And then internally, that includes like quality assurance in the content we're producing, deadline management, making sure that we're providing those consistent deliverables in an efficient manner. But one other thing I want to highlight on the internal side is our talent network. Like you mentioned a second ago, I have the privilege of being able to work with our talent network, which are the freelance editors and writers that we've vetted, we've sourced, we've really come to know over the last several years. I truly believe that our network is second to none. It's the backbone of CV, and so I'm really happy I get to work alongside them as well.
Awesome. Cool. And I know, so you just kind of talked about what you do. And so just from a mindset standpoint, how would you characterize the way that you serve our customers? Like, what is your mantra when it comes to serving our customers?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, my official role is, or my official title is content project manager. But I think something that's a little more encompassing of how we serve our customers and really what we've even used internally is brand ambassador. So I try to let our customers know from the very beginning of our partnership that I'm here to champion their brand. It's not just about checking a box to me, right? Ensuring that we're delivering content that's quality and in a timely manner. Obviously, that's important, but we want to make sure that we're really capturing our customer's unique story in the content we're creating. And we're making sure that we are following through with those nuances in their tone, their voice, their audience, right? Those things that really make up their unique story. And I know that when we really focus on that and we really champion their brand, that's how our customers are ultimately able to achieve their content goals, and then how they end up perceiving us as like an extension of their team.
Cool. And I think 'cause one of the things I was talking to somebody about a few days ago was how brand is the most and almost the most personal thing a business has. I know that sounds weird, but it really is a very personal thing. And I know if you're on the content side and you're really accountable for ensuring that that very personal thing in their brand is communicated out there properly, it can be a challenge, and it's a fun challenge. It's an interesting problem to solve and to own, but really bridging the gap between that customer and the freelancer as the person writing the content is like a really critical piece of your job. And I can definitely hear how important that is to you inside of the conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's something that is crucial when we're first establishing that partnership with our customers, making sure that the talent that we're working with, not only do they have that experience that kind of fits that niche or fits the industry or fits whatever the customer story is, but also that we're communicating that with the talent, right? It's more than just finding the right talent. It's about also communicating any feedback that we've been given from our customers, any nuances about their brand, making sure that that's clearly addressed with our freelance team. That's like a crucial part of like the beginning of our partnership, and it's something that we continue to do as our partnership progresses.
Sure. So tell me a little bit, just to kind of pull it back a little bit, tell me a little bit about what gets you the most excited about the world of content marketing.
I think the first key part of my excitement for content marketing is the demand for content. Businesses and individuals alike are creating so much content right now because it's really become vital, and there's this massive demand for content from a consumer perspective.
Sure.
Me personally, I love to read. I have an English degree, and I really consider myself a lifelong learner. And content is really the sort of access point to different communities, and to be able to learn new things. And so for me, selfishly, more content just means more to read, more to learn. Piggybacking off of that, because there's so much demand, and because Google's algorithm is constantly evolving, you're seeing content improving across the board. Like, it doesn't matter the industry. It's more competitive than it's ever been before. So expertise has become really, really important.
Absolutely. So you work with customers, and you've been in content marketing even before your time at ClearVoice. I know that this is not your first sort of content marketing job, if you will. Tell me about some of the most common mistakes that you see from brands that you've worked with, or kind of things that you would encourage people to be aware of to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you worded that at the very end. It's I almost feel bad referring to them as mistakes. It's really just more that there's so much to consider and to learn and to apply with content that it's easy for one area or one item or one strategy to be overlooked really easily. But if I had to say, like, what kind of is at the top, like what's probably most important thing that's overlooked,
Mhm.
is making sure that you're like diversifying your content needs. So I like to use the term buckets, right? That's kind of an investment term, but it's a really simple analogy to follow, right? In the investment world, you want to spread your wealth and your investment across multiple buckets, right? Or in other words, different types of investments. That way, if one bucket has to be emptied out or it disappears, you have all of these other buckets to support you. I think it's the exact same way with content, right? There's no one size fits all approach because every industry, every client, every brand is different. But if you are only producing blog content and you're not thinking about ebooks or white papers or more conversion driven content, or maybe if you're not doing those refreshes and you're optimizing your existing pages, or you're not focused on design, your overall strategy is likely going to suffer. And it's actually riskier if you approach it that way, right? Because you're
Right.
investing everything that you have in just one bucket of content and hoping that it works.
Right. No, that totally makes sense, and I think that that's something for a lot of brands to think about across the board in the marketing mix as well, not just in the content mix.
Oh yeah.
Because I know that there's a lot of brands. I'm obviously a marketing person, kind of bringing that additional perspective, but I think that when you don't invest sort of like not evenly, but just being mindful about spreading the bets on the table, if you will, and using a different financial analogy in roulette and gambling, you actually can get into trouble if something doesn't work or stops working. Like the Google algorithm changes. And you're
Oh yeah.
like, oh no, I was like really invested in this kind of content, and like now that bottom's fallen out. That's a real problem.
Oh, absolutely. And I think sometimes too, when you try a new strategy, you've got to let that strategy mature for a certain amount of time, right? I also see that happen a lot. Is a customer might try a new content strategy, and it's like, oh, we didn't see maybe the progress we wanted to over the last 2 weeks, so let's switch. Sometimes it's merited, but also sometimes it's like you've got to let a strategy mature, or you got to make sure, because especially when it comes to organic rankings, like that can take a few months. Especially, it depends on the type of keywords you're targeting. It depends on the industry that you're in and how competitive that industry is. Depends on so many different factors.
Sure. So I'm curious, are there any content marketing challenges that keep you up at night?
I would say it used to be that balance, like trying to find the perfect balance between SEO and then compelling and engaging storytelling. Like
Right.
that, and that today is still very, very tough. It's still something
Mhm.
that's still like front of mind and has kept me up at night with customers. The main challenge I think facing content marketing right now is AI, and not even necessarily that AI shouldn't be incorporated into content marketing strategies or anything like that. It's just more like how, right? How much should we be incorporating AI into content production? How are we using it responsibly? What
Right.
about AI detection tools, right? What about their progress and their development and their accuracy? I think at the end of the day, there's always going to be that need for the human touch and the human element in content. But right now, what's keeping me up at night is we're still trying to find the balance.
And I'm curious, are there any industries that you've worked in the past that really inform how you do your job now?
Absolutely. I'm only 26, but I had so many different random like work experiences when I was in high school and college, and even in my first few professional years. But I really think there's one that stands out. The first like 2 years of my professional experience, I was an English teacher at the secondary level before I transitioned fully into the world of content marketing. probably the biggest takeaway is you have to constantly be flexible and adaptable to the situation. You have to think on your feet every day. And I think that really helps in the content space and when I work with my clients. And I think that's going to help me no matter what customer I'm working with, no matter what industry they're in. I think the other thing too is as an English teacher, I got tons of experience reviewing and providing feedback for
Yeah.
content. Yeah, just reading, right? That in itself is a different form of content. And so it's so refreshing now to be in the content space and to read some of the articles that our talent is producing. It's like those essays, but on like a totally different level.
Right. Well,
And
yeah, now you're dealing with like professional writers,
yeah,
versus high school,
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah, versus like sometimes you'd read an essay and there'd be like zero punctuation in it, right? And then yeah, it's a totally different type of feedback. You have to worry less about the vision and more about all these different like grammar nuances and whatnot. Now you get to really commit to like the vision of a piece of content, which is always really fun.
Well, just to wrap us up today, one final question for you, and what's next on your career to-do list?
Yeah, it's always so tough to answer those questions because it's hard to envision yourself 5, 10, 15 years. But I think in the immediate future, like certification wise, school wise, I want to really get my official like project management professional certification. There are qualifications for that, like a certain amount of project management experience. I finally like hit that threshold. So that's the goal before end of year is to be that certified project management professional and continue to learn more, not only about content marketing, but what it really means to be a project manager.
Sure.
And I think I eventually do want to go back to school, likely for business, but I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want to do at the grad level. That's more like technical. I think more general is I just want to keep an open mind and learn new things. I think staying curious has been really helpful for me in my career, and especially in the content space. And I think that's like immediate, right? Just stay curious, stay open-minded.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Harlan, you did it.
We did
You
it.
were on the other side of the camera for your employee spotlight. Thank you so much for hopping on with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a great time, great conversation, as always.
Yeah, likewise. And for those of you tuning in, if you need content for your business or you want Harlan to be your content project manager at ClearVoice, come visit us at www.clearvoice.com.